It's Super Videos back at you for another Q&A video. This is going to be my Q&A number 17. So before I start, spoiler alert, because I'm going to be answering questions, and through answering the questions, I may spoil some things for you. And I already had someone in my last Q&A video call me out and say, why am I spoiling things? So this is your spoiler alert. If you continue watching and you're not caught up with the comic book and the TV show of The Walking Dead, it's not my fault. So with that out the way, let's start with the questions. Let's start with the Walking Dead TV show questions first. The first question comes from Jiggy Dagus-Cohan, and they ask, if Deanna were still alive, would she be a part of Negan's lineup? And of course, they're talking about the lineup for the premiere of Season 7. Or the finale of Season 6 and the premiere of Season 7. So, in my opinion, no. Because if Deanna was still alive, from her character and everything we've seen, she was the type of person who would want to stay at Alexandria and protect Alexandria. So if they're going to take Maggie to the hilltop, she probably would have stayed. Now, you may make a case and say that she was close to Maggie, she would want to go with Maggie, but at the same time, she's not a fighter, so I'm assuming she would probably stay. So if she stayed, she wouldn't be part of Negan's lineup. The second question comes from Gavin Cottrill, and he asks, do you think Negan will Lucille Aaron this season? No, I don't think so, because it doesn't make sense. That lineup scene is specific. The Saviors and Negan only do that when they're first introduced to a group, or if the group kind of breaks the rules. And I don't see any reason why the survivors would be breaking Negan's rule again anytime soon. So because of that, I don't think it's logical to see another Lucille lineup scene, and especially a Lucille death, anytime this season. So no. The third question comes from Roleplay Morgan Jones, and they ask, do you think Negan will hang the Polaroid of the bashed head of Glenn on the wall where Daryl sleeps to break him even more? So I already talked about this in one of my other videos, and in all honesty, I think that would be something interesting they can explore and do, and it'll be very cool to see something like that play out. But my concern is that it may turn out to be a little weird if it comes from Negan. Now, of course, I could see this coming in from someone else, from another savior, maybe ordered by Negan. Now, I could see a scenario where Daryl kind of breaks Negan's rules or something, and to break Daryl even more, he might order one of the saviors to do something like that. But again, it would be very interesting and cool to see something like that play out, but they gotta be careful. But that's a very good question. The next question comes from 0718 Dragon Lord, and they ask, what if Merle survived up to this point with the group until the Lucille lineup? How do you think he would react to the whole situation, and if he were the victim? So that's a good question as well. I think if Merle was alive, he would have the same sort of courageous and cocky attitude as Abraham did, and just stand tall and want to fight back even more than Abraham, in my opinion. We gotta be honest with ourselves. None of them would have been very important to Merle except Daryl. So Merle would have been more willing to step up and do something, but other than that, I think he would have the same sort of characteristics as Abraham did in that scenario. And if he were the victim, I think he would have said something along the same lines as what Abraham said. He would probably say he loved Daryl as well as he was being beat. Maybe his first words would have been like, Daryl, I love you, or something like that. Or baby brother, I'll look over you, or something like that. But I definitely think he would have said something to Negan as well, and kind of said that he cares about Daryl at the same time. But that's a good question. The next question comes from OmEr KhAn, and he asks, do you think Negan should have made Rick actually cut Carl's arm off? No, I don't think that would have been a good idea, because Negan wanted to break Rick. And if he actually forced Rick to cut Carl's arm off, he wouldn't be able to influence Rick in the future anymore, because, the worst would have been done. The other thing he could have done is to make him kill Carl, or to actually kill Carl. But again, if he does that, then he's not going to have Rick's support. Not necessarily supporting Negan, but following his orders. So if he kills Carl, Rick is definitely not going to follow Negan's orders, and he's going to want to fight back. If Negan made Rick cut Carl's arm off, then he would lose some of that willingness from Rick to want to follow his orders. So at least from a storytelling perspective, it doesn't make sense. The next question comes from the Black Antihero, and they ask, where exactly are Abraham and Glenn going to get buried, and when are we going to see the graves? So Maggie and Sasha are taking Abraham and Glenn's bodies to the hilltop, so they're going to be buried there. Now, in terms of when we're going to see their graves, we're probably going to see their graves when we visit the hilltop next time, which is probably episode 6, I would say. So episode 3 is going to be a sanctuary episode. Episode 4 is going to be an Alexandria episode and seeing Negan come to Alexandria the first time. Episode 5, I believe, is a Heath and Tara centric episode. Based on that breakdown, I think it's episode 6. It could be episode 5 as well, and they could switch those two episodes, but to me it makes more sense for it to be episode 6. And I think it's going to be the very first thing we're going to see in the episode that it's going to be in, so either 5 or 6. When the episode starts, we're probably going to see Maggie in front of the grave, or Sasha and Maggie in front of the graves. So that's how I think it's going to go. Now, I have one comic book question, and the question comes from Steven Moraga, and he asks, do you think Lucille breaking will make Negan go crazy / insane? I definitely think Lucille breaking is going to change Negan, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but I don't think it's going to make him go crazy and him just do crazy stuff. I just think it's going to hit him hard in an emotional level, but not so much that he's going to go crazy, because it's just a bat. So that's it for this Q&A video. If you want to participate in my next Q&A video, it's going to be next week, probably next Friday. Make sure to put your questions in the comment section below. Put Q&A before your comment so I can find it. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll be back for another video.